Well, Brittany, thank you so much for sitting down with me. We're back home in our fake virtual offices, but we're on the phone or in Zoom sessions all day. So this should be a walk in the park to answer some questions for us. You have just been such an incredible colleague. We've worked together for how many years? Over 5, right?
Yeah, coming up 6.
Oh my God, that is
I know.
wild. That is
Time
wild.
flies when you're having fun.
I know how great you are. I see it every day in all the amazing interactions that we have and that I observe with our colleagues and our clients. But I want the world to know who you are, and so I appreciate you sitting down with us and kind of chit chatting about everything that makes Brittany Nelson tick. So to start off, tell us a little bit about your role here at Innovate and how you got started in the industry.
Yeah, so I started my market research career over 14 years ago, like almost 15 years, which is crazy to me because I still feel like I'm young and I'm I'm new to the industry, but no, I'm one of the dinosaurs. And I started at a small firm here in Texas, and I was actually in their sample and panel management department, and I was there for about 9 years. And through those 9 years, I learned about questionnaire design, tabulation and banner plans, coding, programming, panel management, you name it. I wanted to make sure that coming into this industry that I knew nothing about before I fell into it, right? Everybody has their how they fell into market research story. I wanted to make sure, though, that I had a full understanding of what every department was doing, how that was connected to my specific role at the time in sampling, and why they were doing what they were doing. And that curiosity that I had carried over into what I do now with my many roles here at Innovate. I started in our account executive department. I helped manage key accounts there. I worked for a short time on the supply side, helping to recruit to our panels. And then I moved into my current role now, which is Vice President of Sales Operation and Corporate Training. Something we always joke about, and it's super humbling to me, is everybody introduces me as the VP of everything. Is that kind of?
I was literally going to say that. I was literally going to say that you are the VP of everything. So
yeah, I kind of dabble in every department. I'm a little nosy, but I do everything from IT, HR, sales, onboarding, and training. And more recently, I helped to oversee our marketing department. But I think, as I was thinking, like, how do I describe what I do? I think the easiest way to summarize that into something that's easy to say is that I'm a master communicator and facilitator. I'm not just working on the business, but I'm also in the business, making sure we're all communicating. Each person has exactly what they need to be the most successful in their role. And then also evangelizing and talking about Innovate externally to our clients.
Yeah, you really are the VP of everything.
That's super humbling.
If people don't know the answer, it's like, oh, just ask Brittany. She'll figure it out.
Yeah. And I love that. I love being involved with everybody and talking to people. I'm a people person, and working from home, you don't really get that interaction that you have at the office. So it's been really helpful to me to be able to talk to everybody in the organization, no matter where they fall.
Mm-hmm. So when you think about 2020, obviously it's been a difficult year for many people, both professionally and personally. I know from my side, I'm just really super proud to work at Innovate. I think when the pandemic first hit, everyone was thinking, gosh, do we have a future? I know from talking with different company leaders and founders out there in our ecosystem, there was just a lot of uncertainty. We'd never been through a global pandemic before. But I think our team has really risen to the challenge in such a tremendous way. And, if you'd asked me back in March about what this year was going to look like after, news of the pandemic hit, I would say, I don't know. I hope we're all still here. Who knows what's going to happen? But, I'm so thrilled. I mean, it's not a flat year for Innovate. It's a year of growth. And to do that during a pandemic is incredible. And I'm just so, so proud of the team. So that's what I'm most proud of in 2020 is that our team came together, weathered an incredibly challenging time, and didn't just survive, but thrived. What are you most proud of, Brittany, when you think about this year?
Absolutely. I mean, obviously, I'm proud of all the tech and product advancements that we've made. that have allowed us to reach out to a broader list of clients. But, if you say like, what are you really most proud of? It's exactly that. Last year we won an award for top company culture and celebrating women and diversity in the workplace. And you look at what's currently going on, our current socio-political climate right now, and so many companies are just now trying to make that a priority and celebrate diversity, equality, and inclusion. So I'm just so proud that Innovate is a place where it's always been at the forethought of our values and culture. We celebrate everybody's differences and what makes them unique and special. We have our own inclusion group here internally that we are a part of, and then we also are founding members of the Multicultural Insights Collective group, and you represent us in that group. So we're not just a company that says one thing and then does another behind closed doors. We really embrace everything about each and every one of our employees. We're constantly listening, we're learning, and we're putting words to action to make sure that everybody feels safe and appreciated. And I think that's what's really helped us thrive this year. Like me as an employee, I can't imagine working for another company and feeling that uncertainty, like what's going on. At the beginning, a lot of us did have to take a few cuts in our paycheck, but at the middle part of the year in about July, you guys got up and said, like, we're paying back 100% of that. Like, thank you so much. Like, we were all in it together, and we were willing to make those sacrifices. And now we're growing. I have multiple new hires starting the next couple of weeks that we're going to be bringing on. And that's crazy to me when a lot of people are feeling the exact opposite. So super proud of us for all of that.
Yeah, I am too. I think it's incredible. And there are a lot of silver linings in 2020. My just reminded me of that the other day.
Yeah,
was talking about how, there's less pollution, less of a carbon footprint on the Earth's atmosphere. And I was like, gosh, Gav, thanks for reminding me. There are a lot of silver linings, more family time.
Totally.
Just sort of a point of inflection, I think, for a lot of us, both, on the professional and the personal front. So it's exciting going into 2021. I think it's a great fresh new start. Even though we are in the midst of another wave of the pandemic, I really think I get the sense that there's big things in the horizon for 2021, and I'm excited to meet those new challenges. What do you think is most important for clients to know about Innovate? I mean, certainly you touched on diversity and inclusion and our incredible culture, but what do you think makes Innovate different and unique from our competitors?
How long do we have to talk here? Like, this is only a short thing. Obviously there's a ton of things to list out. We have specialty panels. We have an entertainment panel that focuses on the people who are doing productions behind the scenes. We have our B2W, which a lot of people haven't focused on. That's business to workers. We have different platform solutions. We're really passionate about quality, and we're transparent of what's going on there, which I know is something near and dear to you. You presented at many conferences about that. But I think what makes us different and why clients ultimately choose us over other companies is our connectivity, right? So our connectivity starts at home inside of Innovate. We're a flat organization by design. You're not going to find any ivory towers here. Where else can you go and find the founders of a company entrenched in a project, working side by side with everyone to make sure that the research gets done and our clients are satisfied? Like, you literally can't. I worked at many places, before my market research career, and it's so unusual. And I think that's what makes Innovate special. And that connectivity then naturally translates over to the clients, and it gives them faster answers, peace of mind, because we are so transparent with the quality measures that we have in place, and gives them that white glove service that they expect and frankly they deserve.
What do you think is sort of the biggest challenge for clients right now in 2020? How can we help them?
I think it is getting back to making sure that we have that personal relationship with them, like a true partnership. I don't think clients want a simple transaction anymore. They want that real relationship. And I think Innovate is the best when it comes to listening to what our clients need. We provide them with consistent service and solutions and give them support for some of those tougher decisions that they've had to make this year. And I'm sure they're going to have to make going into next year. I could probably compare it to a marriage, right? For better or worse, in sickness and in health. You want to find a partner that kind of has your back, that's in it with you. So it's something we all look for in life. And I think it's something that we can also find in business. So you need something that's reliable, consistent, communicative, honest, a true partnership.
A true ride or die, basically.
Yeah, ride or die, of course. Yeah.
You've obviously been in the space for a long time. What do you see are some of the biggest changes during your tenure that you've observed? And where do you think the industry is going on that front?
So the biggest changes in the industry since when I started back in the day in 2006, everything really. I remember that we had a computer that sat in our sampling room where we would go to it and pull RDD sample. I don't know if you ever worked with RDD, random digit dialing. It's basically a one step above just flipping through a phone book. So that's how we would pull our telephone sample. And it was on this computer that it's not like the computers that you and I are on right now. It was like a DOS command window. It was like a black background and it had green writing on it. I actually hated working on that thing, but that's how you got your sample. And then for online sample, we would pull it into an Access database, which was great. I was actually an Access guru. I loved it. But you would have to pull in your sample. You would have to clean it and make sure your sample specs were there, randomize it, and then make sure it was nationally representative. You would have to batch it up. And all while you're doing that, you had a pen and paper next to you and your little protractor and ruler, and you were drawing out a flow chart showing every step that you took. So it was an antiquated process. Obviously, we didn't have the automated systems, kind of like our DIY system that we have now, where you literally just go in, select your sample specs, set your budget, you press a button, and the system automatically pulls a perfectly nat rep sample, and then it fields evenly over your field time. So I think people who are starting out in market research right now have it made in the shade, so to speak. But I don't think I would trade a second. I don't think I would trade, what I went through for a second, because, even though it was a lot of manual work, I think it increased my pain tolerance to do different admin duties, that a lot of execs sometimes think is beneath them. And it really taught me the value of great work ethic. I'm proud to say, I will never say that's not my job. So when you ask the biggest changes that have happened in market research, I would say literally everything. We've come such a long way, and there's even more growth that's going to happen here in the coming years.
Yeah, you're taking me back down memory lane in a major way. I'm going to get all my PTSD is coming back to me. It is. It's so true. Things have changed so dramatically. I also manage samples in Access databases and sent demo reports via email. And it was a very manual process. And there was a lot of redundancy. Things were very kind of fragmented, and I might have to enter the same information and multiple, early day kind of platforms. Even back then, we thought we were cutting edge at my previous company, but looking back now and where we're at today and where the industry is going, it's incredible. So I think experiencing those pains has helped to inform you at the product development table, right? When we're looking at a product, we're thinking and kind of going back to that place and sort of saying that's an inefficiency we need to build and correct for, and here's how we can do that, and make it a simple click.
Yep.
So no, I think that's great. Switching gears a little bit, obviously we're both working moms. We're both very involved in Women in Research, which is an incredible organization that I know we're both very passionate about. So how do you do it, Britt? I mean, you are the VP of everything. You have 2 young daughters. Talk to me a little bit about being a working mom and how you juggle it all. Any tips for other working moms out there?
Oh man, I don't know if I necessarily have major tips, but I can tell you kind of what I do and what I've experienced. I think it really helps working for a company that does allow us to have work-life balance. I've been at places before where, you took off work, or you had to run up to a parent-teacher conference, or, you're sidetracked by something going on with your child, and you kind of had that guilt trip when you came back, and you really don't get that here at Innovate. I know when I come back from PTO, you're the first one to say, like, what did you do with your kids? You're like Braley and Tatum, you know them by name. We know all of our colleagues' families by name. So that really helps, I think, lessen the burden of what millions of people and families are feeling around the world right now. Specifically, how I'm getting through all of this, we have a strict routine. So, my kids went on spring break, like most everybody's kids, back in March, and they never went back to school. And they were going into their summer months. And, while they didn't have school, I still have to work, full time. So I ordered these little, like school books to prepare them for 3rd grade and kindergarten. And so they did those over the summer, and we set up little stations around our house. Our house isn't very big, but we made sure we had like a puzzle table, an arts and crafts section, a reading section, and we would rotate. As I would have meetings, I was like, all right, rotate to the reading section. I need to read for an hour, or now it's time to do a puzzle. So we really got into a good routine and a good flow, so that now that they're in school and they're doing virtual schooling, they're actually sitting in the next room to me, doing their virtual school right now. And I bribed them. I said, you can have ice cream later tonight if you're very quiet for mommy during this time. So routine, bribery obviously always works. And then just practicing patience and staying present and in the moment. You mentioned silver linings earlier, and that's something that I've really tried to focus on. Like I have gotten more time with my family this past year than I ever have before. I just got goosebumps saying that. It makes me so emotional. But my 3rd grader, she's teaching me about our solar system and the Kuiper belt, and she's asking me like, which deserts are the driest, hottest, biggest. It kind of feels like I'm on the game show Are You Smarter Than a 5th Grader? But in this case, it's a 3rd grader. And then I get to see my kindergartner. She's learning to read like right before my eyes, which is something that I would have missed out on if she was at school. So finding those silver linings and appreciating what is actually happening, and trying not to focus on the negativity. Some days are hard, and you tell yourself like, I don't know if I can make it through this, but just take a deep breath, be present, be patient, and just soak in all the moments is what I would say, and what we're doing. And it's working so far. So yeah,
that's awesome advice. And I think as moms, we suffer from a lot of mom guilt.
Oh, totally.
We carry guilt in everything. At least I do. I know I do. I feel guilty if I'm not at work. I feel guilty when I'm working and I'm not with my children. Yeah. And I think you have to just get over that. You have to not allow that to come into your thinking. It's not healthy. It doesn't do anyone any good. And to your point, working at a company that really supports you, recognizes that family always comes first, always, and makes it okay to be a working mom. And honestly, the output of working mothers all over the nation is incredible.
Oh, yeah. It's amazing.
And I think too, as a woman, we're often going above and beyond because we feel like we have to sort of prove ourselves. And it's so important just to be patient with yourself, patient with your family, patient with your colleagues, and recognize it's all going to get done. It's all about prioritization, good communication, and being
Absolutely.
forgiving of yourself, because we're often our toughest critic. So I
Yeah.
think that's awesome advice. So speaking of advice, we're going to wrap up here soon, Britt. Thank you so much for sitting down with me. It's always such a pleasure. And I really consider you not only an amazing colleague, but also a wonderful friend. And I think back to when we first met, it was actually in New Orleans all those years ago.
Just love at first sight.
It really was. You were my client at the time. And I thought someday I need to work with her. She needs to be, we need to be on the same team. So I'm glad that it finally did come to fruition. And I was patient in that. I exercised a lot of patience, right? Because
you did. I felt the same way. I was at dinner. I remember you guys took us to dinner. It was you and Matt, and you guys were just talking about Innovate. And it was just a startup at that time. I don't even think we were a year old yet. And you guys were talking about how amazing it was. And I literally don't remember exactly what you said. I just remember having this like overwhelming feeling of like, oh my gosh, I have to be a part of whatever they're doing, because you made it sound so great and actually made market research sound fun. So
it is fun. What are you talking
about? I'm a nerd though. I know we nerd out on all the data stuff, but
we do. We do.
Yeah,
Nerdom is embraced here. So, just closing it out here, I always ask this question anytime I do Q&A sessions with.
I already know what it is.
Yes. So what advice would you give to your younger self? I mean, you've been in the space a long time now. You've learned good things, bad things. You've learned from mistakes, accomplishments. What would you say to younger Brittany?
Yeah, I kind of cheated on this one because I knew you were going to ask me, because I've seen you ask it to everybody before. And I had to really think, like, what would I have told young Brittany back in 2006? And, to be honest with you, I'm really happy with where I'm at, and I'm proud of the accomplishments that I've made in my career. So any advice that I would give wouldn't be necessarily life-changing, because I like the path that I've taken. But I think something that I practice now, but I didn't necessarily practice when I first started my career, would be to advocate for myself. I know too often young professionals, especially females, are overlooked and undervalued for what they bring to the table. So I think it's up to us to advocate, stand up, let your voice be heard, and demand a seat at the table.
Amen to that.
Yeah.
I love it. Yeah. I think you have to advocate for yourself every step of the way.
Yep.
It's so critical. So this has been so great, Brittany. I really appreciate you taking time out of your day to connect with me. And we'll get this posted up on LinkedIn, because we can show the world how incredible you are and what an awesome colleague you are. So thanks again, and have a great rest of your day.
Yeah. Thanks, Lacey. You do the same.
Bye.